What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Noah Gray here, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Josh's channel and check out showmefootball.com for more.
What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Josh Fan of showmefootball.com, covering your Kansas City Chiefs. And we just got some breaking news. Finally, a resolution on the Rashee Rice situation. We'll break it all down right after this. So, ladies and gentlemen of the Chiefs Kingdom, we finally found out what the resolution is to the Rashee Rice situation as far as his suspension. I'm sure everyone knows already, but Rashee Rice was awaiting punishment for his speed racing incident a little over a year ago now. At this point, it's been a long, drawn-out situation, both outside of the NFL, with the legal process, and now with the NFL in determining what the disciplinary action should be for Rashee Rice. Now, I made the mistake about 2 weeks ago making a video reacting to a story where Rashee Rice was supposed to meet with the NFL to appeal whatever the initial suspension was probably going to be. And that was supposed to take place on September 30th, which meant, if that had happened that way, that Rashee Rice would be able to play in the first 4 games. Now, according to Tom Pelissero, I believe it was, of NFL Network, that was never actually on the table, Rashee Rice playing the first 4 games. So that's my fault. I did not realize that. I'm sure a lot of other people were confused as well, because I think a lot of us thought, hey, Rashee's going to be playing those first 4 games of the season. Then we'll find out what his suspension is. And I'll kind of talk about that a little bit more later. But we got a tweet, from Adam Schefter to begin the day saying the NFL is aiming for at least a potential 6-game suspension for Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice for violating the league's personal conduct policy, sources tell ESPN. The suspension would kick in at the start of the season. Now, that was Adam Schefter this morning saying that the NFL is aiming for a 6-game suspension, which kind of made it seem like, okay, this is now the NFL saying, hey, Rashee, this is the deal we're getting you now, because it has been reported previously that the NFL was aiming for an 8 to 10-game suspension, maybe even longer. And the whole reason that Rashee Rice was supposed to have a hearing on September 30th was to appeal a super long suspension. Rice's camp wasn't happy with the suspension that the NFL was originally going to give him. This was the NFL saying, hey, we're cutting you a deal. Do you want to take this, or are you going to keep fighting it? And then a little bit after that tweet, we got this one from Tom Pelissero of NFL Network saying Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice is accepting and will serve a 6-game suspension to start the 2025 regular season, per sources. The NFL and NFLPA are working to finalize the settlement, which will end Rice's disciplinary limbo and make him eligible to return Week 7 versus Las Vegas. So my initial reaction to this is, first of all, I'm glad we are done with this. It's over, both off the field and now on the field. We have a resolution to the Rashee Rice situation stemming from over a year ago. We know what the result is. Rashee Rice will miss the first 6 games of this season with suspension. And look, I think this is best case scenario for Rashee Rice at this point. I think this is the most fair resolution. I know some people out there are going to say 6 games still too many. But we know the NFL has been all over the place with their suspensions. And given the fact that it's been reported now that the NFL was looking to give Rashee Rice a lengthy suspension, 8 to 10 games, I think we should be happy with 6 at this point. Some people are going to say, oh, look at Jordan Addison, who is a repeat offender. He only got 3 games for his reckless driving. But we have to consider with Rashee, there was kids involved. It could have been a lot worse. There was an actual accident. He fled from the scene. That also goes into this. The fact that he fled from the scene makes it even worse. So I think we just have to be happy with this resolution at this point, that Rashee Rice will miss the first 6 games. And at least this way, because I said I would get into this later, with the way it seemed it was headed with the hearing on the 30th of the month, or next month, I should say, and Rashee playing those first 4 games, there could have been a scenario where Rashee Rice gets suspended still for 10 games, or his suspension doesn't take place till later in the season, and then you're messing with the playoffs and the stretch run of the NFL season. And I didn't like that. I'm glad we're getting this out of the way now, even if it is those first 6 games of the NFL season. And also, as far as Rashee Rice goes, his health, I think this is good because it gives him a chance now, I think, to truly be 100% by the time he comes back. We will cross a calendar year since his injury first happened. during his suspension. And I think that's a good thing that a full year now of recovery has gone by for Rashee Rice since the injury. And you'll know 100% he's ready to go when he comes back. I mean, he already looked good in preseason and he seems healthy again and everything like that. But this way, just that little bit extra time, giving your knee a little bit of a rest before you get all the way back into regular season NFL action. Now, let's look at the schedule for the Kansas City Chiefs, those first 6 games, and talk about how much this hurts the Kansas City Chiefs. So you had that week 1 game in Brazil against the Los Angeles Chargers. You won't have Rashee for that now. It's a divisional game, so it'll be tough. The Eagles, that's going to be another tough one, Super Bowl rematch, not to have Rashee for that. The Giants, you can win that one without Rashee. You can win all these games without Rashee, but I'll get to that in a second. The Ravens, another tough one. Jags, meh. Lions, another tough one. And then you'll get Rashee Rice back for that Raiders game. But, man, this is tough, though. This is a tough stretch of the Chiefs' schedule, if we're being honest. I mean, the Eagles, Ravens, and Lions are all Super Bowl contenders, and you're going to be facing them all without Rashee Rice in those first 6 weeks of the NFL regular season. And it hurts not to have him for those games. But I've said this previously, and I'll say it again. I don't question the Chiefs' ability to win regular season games without Rashee Rice. We saw them do it all last year. Rashee Rice got injured in week 4 of the NFL season last year, and the Chiefs proceeded to go 15-2 in the regular season. They will be fine without Rashee Rice in these regular season games. The more important part is getting him back and getting him back healthy, like I said, for that stretch run of the season and then the postseason. But I also think the Chiefs group at pass catcher is just a lot deeper than it was last year. And that's what makes me feel a lot better about the Rashee Rice situation is you have, year 2 Xavier Worthy. You have Jalen Royals, who we're all excited about. You have Tyquan Thornton, who I think is going to contribute. Juju Smith-Schuster is still there. I like Jason Brownlee a lot, who's now made the team. Robert Tonyan, who has been a huge surprise this summer. Travis Kelce's still here. Noah Gray's still here. You have enough you can win games with. Not to mention, I think the offensive line will be better as a whole. So when you factor in all those things, I still find it hard to believe that this Chiefs offense won't be better than it was last year without Rashee Rice. I think they're better equipped to handle the loss of Rashee Rice this time around. As long as you're going 4-2, 5-1 in that stretch without Rashee Rice, you're going to be fine. And I still think there's a really good chance that the Chiefs go 6-0 in those games. I think they can be that good. So I'm not too concerned about losing him for those first 6 games. Does it hurt to lose him? Yeah. Does it make things a little bit tougher? Yeah. He's your wide receiver 1. A lot of the offense is going to run through him. But I just don't see this as, as painful as it would be if you had the suspension come down later on after relying on Rashee Rice, or if he were to get injured again. I just don't see this as that bad of a situation. I think this is the best case scenario for the Kansas City Chiefs at this point. The NFL was wanting to make an example out of Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice and his team said, no, that's more than we were expecting. We're not a fan of this. Sounds like there were some maybe meetings behind closed doors or some phone calls or something like that. Rashee's camp got the NFL to bring it down to 6 games, and I think that's more than fair at this point. And I don't think Rashee Rice was going to get any better than that. So he said, that's fine. We'll accept that. Now, if you guys remember, with Rashee Rice's off-the-field resolution, he agreed to serve 30 days jail time. And he can serve those 30 days at any point over the next 5 years during his probation. And I think it would be smart for Rashee Rice to start knocking out a lot of those days in jail during the 6-game suspension, just so it's not something that you're worrying about later. Granted, he does have a long time to kind of navigate that, but I think the smart thing to do for Rashee Rice would be to serve that now, because I mentioned this in a previous video I did, but if you guys don't know, when you're suspended by the NFL, you're not allowed in the team facility. So Rashee Rice can't practice with the Chiefs. He can't train with the Chiefs. He can't be in the facility while suspended. So he literally has nothing better to do than go and serve that jail time, in my opinion, because even if you're to wait till later, until after the season, there's still off-season training stuff going on. The guys are meeting up, players are still going to be at the facility from time to time. But right now, Rashee Rice literally has nothing better to be doing. I would go and knock out those 30 days if possible over the next 6 weeks if I was Rashee Rice. But that's pretty much my thoughts on the breaking news. Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice suspended for the first 6 weeks of the season. I want to hear from you guys down in the comments below, though. Do you think this was fair, or are you a little bit more upset about this than I am? Definitely want to hear from you guys down in the comments below. if you think this was good or not for the Kansas City Chiefs and Rashee Rice. But with all that being said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this. Make sure you check out my work on showmefootball.com. And last but not least, follow me on Twitter at showmefb. That's all I got for you guys in this one. I will see you all in the next one. And as always, go Chiefs.